into the future.
Hey there, Eagles. Welcome to a brand new episode of Landstown Listens, the podcast by students for students.
That's right. Whether you're chilling in the cafeteria, tackling homework, or just trying to survive the hallway traffic, we've got your back.
We're your go-to source for everything happening in the halls of Landstown High, from the latest buzz in the classrooms to the biggest events on campus. We've got the inside scoop.
But here's the twist. We're not your typical hosts. Nope. We're just regular students, like you, navigating the highs and lows of high school life. So, if you're ready for some real talk, genuine laughs, and a whole lot of Eagle spirit, you're in the right place.
What's up, Eagles? Welcome back to another episode of Landstown Listens. I'm your host, Dylan Dayton. Today, we are here with...
Mrs. Barati.
Yes. We're just going to be answering some questions. Let's just jump right into it. First, how long have you been teaching for?
This is my 7th year teaching. It is my third career, kind of.
Have you been teaching Algebra 2 for all those years?
No, I started out part-time for the first 2 years, and I only taught Algebra 1. And then my second year, I even stepped back and took all the Algebra 1 kids who were failing, and I taught them algebra skills.
Okay.
So I didn't start teaching Algebra 2 Trig until my third year, and created this Academy Algebra 2 Trig class during COVID, which was fun.
All right, that sounds cool. Why do you like math?
Oh, that's a good question. That's deep. I like math because it has a definite answer. That's probably the underlying thing. I don't like this wishy-washy, one person could see it one way and math tends to have a right or wrong answer. I also think it's fun. It's a good way to, I like to think. You have to think when you're doing some of the challenging problems.
Right. What is the hardest math course you have ever taken?
Ooh. Well, not math specifically, but in college, thermodynamics was the class that kicked my butt. The average on the first exam I took was a 32%, and I think I got a 38%, so it was like a B.
You think that would be the hardest class for all students?
Depends. I think some people think that way more than others. Obviously, I am not a thermo person, but math-wise, the math classes didn't tend to feel hard. It came naturally most of the time.
Okay. How did you decide that you wanted to be a teacher?
I was an engineer in my former life, and then I stayed home with my kids to raise them for several years, and I knew I wanted to go back to work. I decided I wanted to do something that was more meaningful and not just make money for a company. And what more meaningful career can you have than molding the minds of youth?
Yeah. If you could give one piece of advice to all the students taking a math course, what would that be?
One piece of advice would be to know your basic math facts. If you don't know your multiplication tables, if you can't add and subtract numbers without a calculator, how are you going to do Algebra 2 or Trig or anything, real, even Algebra 1? You get stuck in the numbers. And if you could just know your multiplication tables, I tell my kids that would take you far.
What about your second pick for advice?
Don't be afraid to get help. So for some reason, some students think that if they have to ask for help, they're embarrassed. They think they're stupid or whatever. Absolutely not. So I try to encourage students to get help as early and often as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have some bonus/silly questions here.
Okay.
What is your favorite math symbol and why?
Infinity. Oh, absolutely. It's pretty. You can make jewelry out of it. No, definitely infinity symbol, and it means a lot in math and in life maybe.
All right, that's cool. What about your second favorite?
Sigma. Do you know what sigma is?
Yeah.
You'll learn it when we get to statistics unit. It looks like it's the Greek alphabet letter sigma, and it means the summation. It's a summation of all numbers in that particular expression.
All right, that's cool. Do teachers have favorite classes?
Do you mean subjects or the specific classes?
Specific classes.
Of course we don't. Maybe over the years, one class will stand out above another, and it's not always like the most well-behaved class or anything. It's often a class that's quirky and where the kids aren't afraid to speak up and they're not afraid to laugh at themselves and embarrass themselves a little bit in front of each other. So it's, like I said, it's not always the quietest, well-behaved class. It's the fun ones.
All right. Well, that's cool. Thank you for joining me, Miss Barati. I am your host, Dylan Dayton, and this is Landstown Listens signing off.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Hey Landstown, this is Amaya and I'm here with
Mrs. Verhelli.
Okay, so we have a few questions for you today, so let's get right into it. First, what made you want to become an algebra teacher and how long have you been teaching algebra?
So when I took algebra, I actually just fell in love with math, and so I wanted to share that love and help other people get those aha moments where everything just clicks. And this is my 4th year teaching.
Oh, okay, that's nice. How do you make Algebra 2 lessons more engaging and enjoyable for your students?
So sometimes I throw in fun activities, like we've done a pixel art or we'll do dominoes, but largely I just have students come up to the board or write on my iPad their answers and work in groups.
Okay. Do you have any advice for students that are nervous to take Algebra 2?
Make sure you review your Algebra 1 skills. Make sure those skills are solid because you're going to use them.
Okay. So, what resources are more helpful for students taking Algebra 2?
Well, we've got lots of resources here at Landstown. We've got the tutoring, we've got our Eagle Blocks, we've got Math Space, we've got IXL. There's all kinds of resources. And especially just reach out to your teacher, ask them for help.
Can you share any tips or strategies for students who may be struggling with Algebra 2?
Do corrections. Even if it's not for a grade, making those corrections can really help you understand what you did wrong and prevent you from making those mistakes again.
Are there any specific projects or activities that you find particularly effective in Algebra 2?
Just working together, getting input from other students. I find sometimes you take that better with getting feedback from them.
Okay. What are some common misunderstandings that students have?
A couple things I've seen are they like to take x plus 3 squared and they don't FOIL it. They just do x squared plus 9. And also factoring out GCF. A lot of people forget to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of have some problems with that too. How do you build a growth mindset with your students in Algebra 2?
One thing I do is always, if a student points out a mistake that I made, I'm very grateful to them. And then sometimes I'll even thank a student for making a mistake, because then we get to talk about it.
I feel like that helps students to trust their teachers more.
Yeah.
Do you have any success stories or memorable moments from your experience as an Algebra 2 teacher?
Not from Algebra 2 specifically, but I do know when I was teaching Algebra 1, I had a student who was really struggling in that first half of the year, but she pulled it together in the second half. And even was able to show me that she knew the first half now. And so even though the numbers didn't quite line up, I was able to pass her for the year.
Okay. That's really great. Well, that's all I have for you today, Ms. Verhelli. Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
That's our show. For more information on Landstown Listens or public speaking, you can reach out to Miss Emily Rogers. Thank you for listening, and talk to you soon.